The following is a presentation of the Matt Talk Podcast Network.
It's better than indoor plumbing. It's better than electricity. It's better than the thermos bottle. That's right. It's the 2017 Matt Talk Online Digital Fan Guide Division I Preview, simply calling it The Guide. Over 200 pages digitally delivered to you March 14th. Pre-sale. Pre-orders available now, matttalkonline.com/fanguide17. Listening to this show, you will get $5 off if you use the offer code PODCAST. That's PODCAST. Offer code when you buy it at matttalkonline.com/fanguide17. Over 200 pages of facts, stats, history. Every single wrestler competing in St. Louis, every single score all season long. History, 4-time All-Americans, 3-time national champions. Who's got the most All-Americans all time? Which coach has the most titles? How do they rank top 10? Everything in this guide, digitally delivered, optimized for your tablet and iPad, but it works just fine on your computer. And if you feel like going to Kinko's, you can print it out. It's going to be a lot of paper. But anyway, retailing at $19.99. You listen to this show, and any show on the Matt Talk Podcast Network with regularity, use the promo code, I'm going to say it really lightly now, podcast. Yep, use podcast. That way I know you're listening. You'll save $5. It is worth it. ESPN loves it. You've heard my sound bites on other shows about how much Adam Amin used this thing when he was the ESPN. I'm going to stop belaboring the point right now, and we'll get to our show. But matttalkonline.com/fanguide17, the guide. This thing, the most unbelievable Division I preview guide ever assembled, and it just keeps getting better every year. You'll want it for your fantasy contests. You'll want it for your knowledge bombs. You'll want it sitting there in the arena going, okay, hey, who's this guy? Boom, there he goes. Also got tweet your direct social media stuff right to it. It's an interactive guide. You'll be able to pop up a podcast that's related to who's going on and what's going on. You'll want to get this. matttalkonline.com/fanguide17, promo code podcast. Save yourself $5. You will not regret it.
You've always got time for short time.
Hey, it's Mario Lopez.
David Taylor.
Fred Metcalf. Johnny Hendricks. Tony Ramos. Bubba J.
Mike Golick.
Matthew Modine. The one and only Chael Sonnen. And you are listening to the one and only Short Time Wrestling Podcast by the often imitated and never duplicated Jason Bryant.
All right, we'll get started. Greetings and welcome to the Scott Trade Center for today's introductory press conferences for the 2017 NCAA Wrestling Championships. The NCAA, the St. Louis Sports Commission, and the University of Missouri are excited once again to host this outstanding event. Beginning next to me and going to your right, our student athletes are Jaden Cox of Missouri, Gabe Dean of Cornell, Thomas Gilman of Iowa, Zane Retherford of Penn State, and Kyle Snyder of Ohio State. Our format for today will begin with opening remarks on the NCAA Wrestling Championships from each individual, followed by question and answer. We ask that you raise your hand and signal for the microphone before asking your questions, and also state your name, affiliation, and who the question is directed towards. And we ask kindly if you continue to do that for each question, it'll just help clear things up for us on the transcribing end. We'll start with an opening remark from Jaden Cox of Missouri, and then we'll move on down the table. Jaden.
I'm just excited to be here. I think we got a lot of great wrestling that's been happening this year, and I'm looking forward to going out there and being under the lights and put on a good show. So let's just get ready to rock and roll, I guess.
Gabe Dean of Cornell.
Yeah, just to second what Jaden said, just happy to be here, happy to compete, happy for the opportunity that lays in front of me, and thank you to St. Louis for putting it on again.
Thomas Gilman of Iowa.
Yeah, I don't have much to say, just ready to go, ready to be here, and let's get after it.
Zane Retherford of Penn State.
Yeah, let's have some fun. That's it.
And Kyle Snyder of Ohio State.
Yeah, similar to what everybody else said, just excited to compete. It's going to be a good team race this year. I think there's a couple teams that can challenge to win this tournament, and I'm excited about that. Excited about the opportunity to compete for Ohio State and to score a lot of points.
Okay. Questions, please.
This is Gary Abbott with USA Wrestling. This is for Kyle Snyder. Kyle, just your thoughts about being named this morning as a finalist for the AAU Sullivan Award as the nation's top amateur athlete, and a secondary question about what, if any, things have changed in your life since you won the Olympic gold medal.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a big honor to be named. I think there's 7 finalists, one of 7 finalists for this award. I think three other wrestlers have won this award before me: John Smith, Bruce Baumgartner, and Rulon Gardner. So wrestler hasn't won it in a long time, but a Buckeye won it a couple years ago, Ezekiel Elliott. So it'd be cool to win this award and join the company of some other elite athletes. And since winning the Olympics, I would say things have been pretty similar. I feel like maybe some more people know me, and I've had some opportunities to do some cool things and meet some new people. But other than that, the wrestling's the same, practice is the same, friends and family are the same. So for the most part, life seems relatively similar, which is good, because before the Olympics I liked my life. So I'm glad I went back to that.
This is Mike Finn from Win Magazine. This is a follow-up for you, Kyle, and then another question for you, Jaden, and related to what he's going to say. You've wrestled less college matches these past 2 years than you did that the other year. Can you talk about, because you haven't wrestled as much college, do you recommend it to other athletes not wrestling as many college matches for the wear and tear, and what it could do for other guys? And then for Jaden, a follow-up for you, after seeing what he's done the past 2 years, and the fact that you had success internationally, would you wish that you would have done what he did?
I pretty much recommend, whatever you feel like is going to make you the best wrestler is what I recommend. For me personally, I felt like I needed to wrestle in some international competitions and to go to the training camps in Colorado Springs and develop technically in some areas that I need to focus on. And then competition, your weaknesses are always exploited. So it's good to wrestle the best wrestlers you possibly can. But I love competing for Ohio State every opportunity I can. I try to. When I'm in Columbus, I'll wrestle for Ohio State, and if I can get back in time from trips, I'll try and wrestle as well. So, but NCAA wrestling, it is a long season, and I could definitely see how it could wear you down. But I think most of that is probably mentally how you approach the sport rather than physically, because we wrestle a lot all year. So, but just the mental aspect probably wear you down if you value the wrong things.
To answer your question, if I wish I would have done differently, no, because I didn't wrestle for anything. I wrestle for myself. I wrestle because I love to do what I do, and more so than anything, I'm going to wrestle the way that I want to wrestle, and I'm going to wrestle when I want to wrestle. I think for me, especially when it going towards the Olympics and all that, people can say, well, if he would have trained differently, he might have been there. You don't know that, I know for sure, though, that the way I train now and the way that I've been wrestling with the folk style and the freestyle background that I had, I got a bronze medal, and so you can't change that fact. It's a fact that the way I went through things was successful to a point. And would it have changed? We don't know if it would have changed for better or worse, but knowing where I am now, no, I wouldn't change anything for an uncertainty.
This question is for Jaden. Audrey Dahlgren from KSDK in St. Louis. For you to be able to be here in your hometown state and have an opportunity to capture your 3rd title in 4 years and doing it here in St. Louis, what would that mean to you?
It would mean that I only have a 2-hour bus ride back home. To be honest, it would mean the world to me. I came here, 2 years ago, and I didn't get what I wanted. I took 5th. And it's a great thing about life right now for me is that you don't always get chances to go back and redo things over again, and I get an opportunity to do that again, and that's really driving me to accomplish a feat that I wanted to accomplish 2 years ago. And now I just have another opportunity right here in front of me, and I look forward to taking full advantage of it.
Travis Johnson with TrackWrestling.com. This is for Zane. Zane, it was just announced that Nick won't be competing this weekend. How big of a blow is that for you guys, and have you had a chance to talk with Nick, and if so, what are his spirits like?
Yeah, I mean, we're here for Nick. It sucks. It's not where he wants to be right now, for sure. He wants to be competing. That's his competitive drive, but, we're all here for him, and we still have stuff to do without him, but we're here for him, and we're excited to compete.
Mark Jolkover with Flow Wrestling. Thomas, we just saw you out there warming up before with Terry. Just talk a little bit about his influence on you over the past 5 years.
Well, we don't got that much time, so I'll keep it short. He's had a great influence on me, a very big influence on me, not only on my wrestling, but on my life and developing as a human being, as a man. So just in every aspect, Terry Brands has been there to help me along and help me develop. And like I said, not only in my wrestling, but also becoming a better person on the mat and also off the mat.
Audrey Dahlgren, KSDK in St. Louis again. Another question for Jaden. When you were in Rio this summer, how do you think it really helped you for this whole season as a whole? And what did you learn that you felt, I guess, has helped you this year?
I think I learned that the world it's a small world. I think getting to know people like Kyle and other guys that from all over the nation that you don't really get to hang out with, and having a few months to hang out with a bunch of group of great guys, you learn that it's a pretty small world. Everyone has kind of similar, either issues or similar struggles, or and you had guys to back you in that. So you always it gave me coming back whenever I would hit those struggles, would be like, you know what, other guys got that too. It's something that I can get through. So that was one thing that was just kind of cool, I guess, on how I felt on the inside or how things were. But I think also from a wrestling standpoint, it just gave me a boost of confidence. I think, not to say that I never ever lacked confidence, but it was nice to know hey, we can go wrestle Salas and some guys from Mongolia or whatever, and we can do pretty good, So it's nice to be like, yeah, that's all right, cool. No, so if anything, it was just a great feat, and it felt good just to do it.
Dan Lobdell for Flow Wrestling. This one's going to be for Gabe. Since you're going for your third title, what kind of conversations have you had with Kyle Dake? And kind of follow up after that, I know you're probably focusing on NCAAs, but when do you think you will make a decision about kind of where you're going to go on the senior level?
I've been blessed to have a lot of great role models around me, Kyle being one of them, Damian Hahn and Mike Gray as well. I'm taking it a step at a time. I plan on wrestling internationally for as long as I can after college. It's something I want to pursue, and it's something I hope to do someday, just like Kyle and Jaden, and I'm sure these other guys sitting next to me too. I take one opportunity after the next that comes my way, and try not to get too ahead of myself. So whatever happens, I'm focused on this tournament right now, and then whatever happens after that, I'll take it as it comes.
Any further questions for the student athletes?
Garrett Carr, Black Shoe Diaries. Zane, with the news that Nick Sciarra is going to miss the tournament, is the team feeling any more pressure to chase bonus points or to perform, or has the mentality of the team kind of stayed the same? And how long have you guys known that Nick probably was not going to be available for this tournament?
I just found out, so, as new as you guys know. But I think that the team's going to compete the same way regardless. We want to score as many points as we can in the amount of time that we have out there on the mat, so that doesn't change at all. Obviously we wish he could be out there competing with us. He's fun to compete alongside, competes hard, and and gives it his best every time he's out there. But we got to do what we got to do.
This is Gary Abbott with USA Wrestling for Zane. Zane, how do you assess your wrestling this year in comparison to last year? I know after last season you took third in the Olympic trials, and you're wrestling full college season. But do you feel you've improved in certain areas, and what was that journey like for you to get to this point as far as your abilities to wrestle?
Yeah, I think I've learned a lot. Since last year, just about my style and just always adding things to your wrestling. You have to keep growing and learning. So I guess everywhere I've been trying to add new things, try new things in matches if I can, and I guess that's where I've grown. And mentally as well, being a little more patient and being patient but still scoring at the same time.
Thomas. Thomas. Regarding the news of Soriano being out, you always want to face the best. I know that. So, what is your reaction to one of your top competitors this year not being in the tournament?
Obviously, I'm sorry to hear that. Never want to hear someone getting hurt or not being able to compete. That's no good. Like you said, I always want the best to compete against me, but the way the bracket laid out, we would have met in the finals, and he would have had to make it to the finals. So no disrespect to him or anyone else, but I just wrestle whoever they put out there, and whoever makes it to the finals, whether that would be him or Dance or anybody else. It's not a given that I would make it to the finals either. So just got to take it one match at a time, and whoever they put out there and whoever steps out there, I'm ready to compete against. And again, I'm sorry to hear that he's not going to be competing, and I hope he gets well soon.
This question's for Kyle, Thomas, Gabe, and Jaden. It's your senior year kind of last go around and things. Talk a little bit about that process going through and what you've learned in the past couple of years.
Let's start with Kyle down at the end of the table there and make our way this way.
It's not your senior year, my bad. For the other three guys, though.
Let's start with any senior that's down at that end of the table.
So a little comedy there. We don't know quite where we're at, I guess. It's my senior year. It's my last hoorah, and everyone wants to talk it up, but it's really no different. It's just another competition. It's another match, and although it's a marquee match, and it's been on all our calendars, and it's been highlighted for the whole season and really our whole lives, it's no different. The way we look at this is no different than we looked at the first match of the year. We still got to be ready, still got to be fired up, still got to be motivated, and so I look at it no different. Just got to stay disciplined and stay focused and just take it one match at a time. The season's not over yet. My career's not over yet, so like I said, just take it one match at a time.
Kind of same what Thomas said. I think when you start thinking this is your last, thing, you get yourself worked up about it. It just kind of becomes a distraction. It's just another tournament. It just happens to be our senior year, and wrestling has been much more to me than just a sport. It's prepared me for the rest of my life for those really important things. When you're a husband and you're a father, and the things that wrestling has done for me are much more than national titles and All-American statuses and stuff like that. Those are just accolades. And so I really look forward to taking what the sport has done for me and applying it to some, those big time responsibility things when you're older and, raising a family and that kind of thing. So.
I don't know. I think of it kind of differently. I do. I let it seep in a little bit. This is the last time, and this is I committed to this place 4 years ago. 18, 19 years old, and I committed to a place, and this is what I said I was going to commit my heart, my life, my drive to. And so I was like, this is the last time that I'm ever going to wear, this logo on me ever again as a competitor, on a mat, at least. This is the last time that I get to do these things and be around these guys in a warrior fashion where I'm going to be standing side by side with them as we go on as teammates. So, for me, I let it seep in, because that gives me, I think it's a fire underneath me, put the passion behind what I do, put the passion within myself, and hopefully that passion will spread throughout my team, as well. But I think that's what I think about. It's the final time that black and gold will ever be on my shoulders on that mat. So, it's something that I hold with pride and I hold with a lot of passion.
This is Mike Finn from Win Magazine one more time. This is for Zane, Thomas, and Gabe, and relative to what I had talked to Kyle earlier about how many matches. The fact that Soriano got injured, that's part of the sport. Do the three of you recommend there should be a limit to the number of matches you have during the college season to prevent to the wear and tear of it all?
Start with Zane.
No, not at all. I mean, nothing out of the ordinary. I think what Kyle said earlier, if you're not, I think it's more of a mental thing than the physical wear of the season. If you're not enjoying it and wrestling for the wrong reasons, then obviously you're not going to feel your best. So if you're truly loving the sport and wrestling out of passion, there's no need to limit yourself on how many matches. Yeah.
Thomas Gilman.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what Zane's saying. I mean, we only wrestle maybe 30 matches, 35 at the most. I mean, that's really not that many matches if you think about it. I mean, I think the way our society's going, people maybe want to change it. People are getting a little soft. They want to say, hey, you guys shouldn't do this, shouldn't do that. But I mean, we're wrestlers. I mean, we're tough. I mean, we should be wrestling maybe more. I mean, maybe let's make the season a little longer. No, I'm just kind of kidding, maybe a little bit, but seriously, I mean, I think that you're kind of talking the way society is talking. I mean, we're as a wrestling community, we shouldn't be talking like that. The season's long and it's hard. Yeah, the sport's hard. The matches aren't necessarily what is mentally draining or physically draining. It's the training, but that's what we embrace and that's why we wrestle. So, yeah, I just agree with what Zane had to say.
And Gabe Dean.
Yeah, I agree. It's going back to what Kyle said too. I think you gotta just do what makes you happy and what is best for your career as terms of yourself and your team. I don't think it's too long or too short. I think guys approach the season differently in all different types of ways. The sport's unique. You control your own destiny in this sport, and you just do it the way you want to do it. So it's a tough sport and it's a grind. We all know that, but there's a team aspect, and we need those matches anyways. So,
final call for questions for student athletes, please.
This one's for Zane. Zane, 2 years ago when the tournament was here, you were in a redshirt year. Back then, were you visualizing coming back to this place and dominating? Is that something that was on your mind at the time?
Not specifically this place, but I was definitely looking forward to the next thing that I can compete in. Yeah, because I was missing competing for sure. And I was looking at the next NCAA tournament, which was in Madison Square Garden last year. So, always the next thing.
Dan Abdel from Flow Wrestling again. For Jaden, you've expressed in the past that you want to play football, and obviously your mind's focused on winning NCAAs. How long after the NCAA tournament do you feel that you're going to make a decision about whether or not you're going to play football this year, or next year rather?
As far as how long, I'm not too sure. I do know that I have to focus on this right now. I also know that, and Coach told me, at least Coach Oden told me just focus on what I got to do for this NCAAs and for this season. As far as how long after, I'm not sure. That's just I have to sit down and have meetings and talk with people and figure things out as well. But I don't know. I know that I'll take a rest period for sure, and then as soon as I can be out there and everything, then I'll definitely be out there. So I hope everything just goes according to plan. Be healthy coming out of this, and in the future, and just do what I do, have fun and enjoy life.
We'll let that conclude the student-athlete portion of today's press conference. We'll begin with head coaches shortly. Just hang tight, everybody. Good job, guys.
I'm allowed to go?
show is part of the Matt Talk Podcast Network. For more wrestling podcasts, head over to MattTalkOnline.com.